Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel, and it's match preview, Manchester United versus Coventry in the FA Cup semi-final. We've also got updates as well from Erik Ten Hag's press conference, and I've got to be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous going into this one. My heart's saying it's going to be a Manchester United win, but my head keeps taking me back to certain games this season, the inconsistencies, but surely Man United will raise the levels for this one.
Of course they'll raise the levels. Erik Ten Hag expects to raise the levels. All the fans expect to raise the levels. Listen, we're all nervous. It's an FA Cup semi-final. Regardless of who you're playing, it's a massive match. Erik Ten Hag knows that. And I think listening to him today, he's got everything right. The club, really, and Erik Ten Hag this week are preparing for this game. They know it can be a banana skin.
Yeah, one of the biggest FA Cup shocks if it was to go the other way.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep confident, and I'm sure we will get that win. Let us know your score predictions for this one. Before we go into Erik Ten Hag's press conference, though, Jim Ratcliffe will attend Manchester United's FA Cup semi-final against Coventry City after completing the London Marathon on Sunday. Now, he might even be on the bench because, we're suffering with injuries at centre-half, so he could even get a start.
Listen, if running the marathon don't kill him, running this club will kill him, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Right? So he's really jumped in at the deep end. Marathon, heart attack, it's on its way. This club will give anyone a heart attack. But hey, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, clearly a glutton for punishment. But hey, he's jumped in. Fair play to him.
Yeah, the manager's job clearly ages the managers, at least by 10 years after being here just a year or two. But just getting into his press conference, and we'll mention Alejandro Garnacho. We didn't mention it yesterday because, like we said before, we thought, in our opinion, it was just a non-issue.
Yeah.
But Erik Ten Hag said Alejandro is a young player and he has a lot to learn. He has apologised for liking the tweet on social media, which was criticising Erik Ten Hag. And after that, we just move on.
Yeah, well, he's not been punished for anything. They don't see it as a big deal. Young lad, done a tweet, been reprimanded, been told off, he's apologised. It's no big deal. Everyone else tried to make it a big deal. Obviously, after the Brentford game, everything is just highlighted and just gets stuck right into United. Let's give it him. And the Garnacho, what he did, social media tweet, it helped put the pressure on, and it just pure, out-and-out bile what was coming at United all week. But the Garnacho thing, it's nothing. We never mentioned it. Didn't see any reason to. It's not as though like he's in Ireland on a bender, is it? You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, the thing is, though, with social media, it's a very powerful tool as well for the players. And, you've got to remember the day and age we're living in now, society. And, I expect, really, more things like this to maybe crop up in the future, not just at Manchester United, but other football clubs as well. You're seeing a lot of players now doing a lot of activity on social media, whether that's sponsorships or just tweeting out themselves on certain things in the day-to-day life.
Yeah, well, it's going to go on. It happens. People regret it, eat at the moment and all that, But he's been advised, and the club and Erik Ten Hag, and I think Garnacho, I've just looked at it and gone, it's no big deal. Brushed it away and move on. And I think that's what they did the following day, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just moving on to some injury news as well. And Ten Hag said that Anthony and Scott McTominay, he expects them to be back for the game on Sunday. We have some problems, though, with Harry Maguire. He struggled with a small injury against Bournemouth. He hasn't trained this week so far, but he's now back on the pitch, and he should be available for Sunday. And we do need him to be available for Sunday as well, unless Ratcliffe does come in and start.
I listened to him about Anthony and Scott. Clearly, they're in the squad. They'll travel down. But do you know what? Listening to Erik Ten Hag there, I don't think he's that hopeful. He's not been training all week, Harry Maguire. He's hopeful. That's what he said. And to be honest with you, I don't think he'll be in it. I just don't see it. So we're going to struggle in that position. Obviously, we'll hear more about Harry Maguire tomorrow to see if he's come through today in training and that. But, looking at Erik Ten Hag there, I don't think he's hopeful. I think there could be a big problem there. But I think Erik Ten Hag's prepared with who to put in place. I think all week they've looked at it. I think they'll have worked on it, playing against Coventry without Harry Maguire. So I think he's ready for it because he did not look totally convinced about Harry Maguire playing for Manchester United on Sunday.
Yeah, big risk as well for the rest of the season, really, if you're going to put him in. And if he's not trained this week, could get a reoccurrence of the injury or even inflict another injury, what he's not had this week if he was to start. So maybe, I don't know, what options have we got out there? if you're looking at, no Rafael Varane, Johnny Evans, I know he's missed the last couple of weeks at least with an injury. I'm not too sure where he's up to. Could they possibly put Casemiro in centre defence? Scott McTominay, could that be an option? I'm not too sure. Maybe getting one of the young lads from the under-18s, under-21s.
Well, you mentioned Casemiro going there as centre-half. Yes, it could be a possibility, because what you could do then, you could either bring Eriksen into next to Kobbie Mainoo, or you could bring in Scott McTominay. So Casemiro has played centre-half. He's trained there. I remember a while ago, I can't remember when it was, Erik Ten Hag talking about, we've got solutions for the centre-half position. Casemiro's name came into it. So, yeah, they could have worked on that this week, knowing that Harry Maguire might not make it. And obviously, with Scott coming back into the squad, he could be in a place to go centre-half. There is options. I'm not saying it's the best options, but I'm saying I think United have worked on this to find a solution. And that's why we've not really, well, I've not, you tell me any different, I've not really heard anything going on about this team this week. It's all been noise about attacking the club and the players and all that. So I think Erik Ten Hag is prepared for Harry Maguire, based on what he's saying there, not to be in that team. And to me, it looks that way.
Yeah, we did say yesterday in the video that we have actually relied on Harry Maguire this season. At least 27 games he's played this season. And, one player that will start, though, is Willy Cambuella. And you'd expect Wan-Bissaka and Dalot to start at left back and right back.
Yeah, I can't see any change there. What's his name?
Cambuella.
Cambuella, yeah. I keep mixing it up. Sorry about that. Right. You expect him to be there, and you expect Wan-Bissaka, and you expect Dalot to be there. And like I say, it's just who's going to be there. And I think someone different will be there. That could be 22, maybe 23 games, maybe more, that we've actually changed the centre-half position. So what a season this has been for centre-half changes.
He's also changed the full-back positions as well when Wan-Bissaka and Dalot have been available. We've seen Wan-Bissaka play on the left and then some games on the right, and swapping over, vice versa. So it'd be interesting to see which combination he goes with, whether it's Wan-Bissaka on the right, Dalot on the left, etc.
It'd be interesting to see, but you've got to turn around and say, madness, absolute madness. What's going on in front of the goalie there? The goalie's head must just be falling off, because he just does not know who he's working with from week to week, never mind day to day.
Yeah, me personally, I'd like to see, if Harry Maguire wasn't starting, Scott McTominay at centre-half,
yes,
and leave Casemiro in the middle alongside Kobbie Mainoo. I don't think Eriksen and Kobbie Mainoo, that'd be the right balance for the team, really. There's sort of like similar players, aren't they, where you would need someone in that midfield, like a Casemiro, who's that sort of tough tackling sort of player, like a Scott McTominay, I suppose, in the midfield. But I'd like to see Scott centre-half.
The reason why I'd like to see Scott there is because I've seen him play there for Scotland. I've not seen Casemiro play as centre-half, and I'm not saying he wouldn't be able to do the job. It's only on what I've seen, and what I've seen, I'd be confident Scott McTominay would be a good centre-half. And you've got to remember, it's Coventry, it's not the elite attacking formation, so I'd expect Scott to do well.
I hope they're not our dying words, you just saying that.
No, they're not my dying words. I get what you're saying, right? But they're not the elite. So you'd expect Scott to be able to perform. He's performed on international level. So for me, if there is a problem with Harry Maguire, I'd put Scott there.
Yeah, he's also, he was asked about Jadon Sancho as well and his performances recently for Dortmund. And he was asked if it had also changed his situation at Manchester United and his future. And he said no. But we know Jadon Sancho is a fantastic footballer. So that is no surprise for us. That is not the issue, though. And I think we all know what the issue is.
Yeah, we all know what the issue is. And it's the first time he's really spoken and came out about Sancho. And he did praise Sancho for playing well with Dortmund. I don't think he's been playing really well for Dortmund, but that's my own personal opinion. But he did praise that. Well done for getting through to the semi-final of the Champions League. That it was a good game. He enjoyed watching it. He also did say that he's been getting reports back. He is a player. He is a Manchester United player, and he is out there on loan. And we do get reports back. But he's basically saying there is no change. And he sort of like brushed off. Is he going to come back to Manchester United based on the performances and how he's doing over there? And he sort of brushed that off. There is no change. The stance, what we've got, this is how I interpret what he was saying. The stance, what we've got, there is no change, especially while I'm here.
you not think he's left the door open though for him by
No.
saying we know Jadon Sancho is a fantastic football player, or is he then taking that stance of praising Sancho, so in the summertime they do get a transfer fee for him? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or like a decent transfer fee.
18 months ago he said he was a fantastic player and sent him off abroad to go and train on his own, and he's come back, and there's many times, great player, great player, great player. We've heard it from many different sources, but Ten Hag has said, good player, I like the player and all that, but still not good enough, doesn't do the job. It's okay being a great player, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then you're not in the team and you're not worth even considering. And that's what Erik Ten Hag's done. He's made a stance. You ain't going to change. And that's basically what's happened to Sancho. Sancho's attitude has not changed under Erik Ten Hag. And that's why he got loaned out and Borussia Dortmund took him. He's happy there. Fair enough. That's where he wants to be. That's what it is. Away you go, son. He ain't coming back under Erik Ten Hag, and his attitude will not change. It's never changed from being a kid. Never changed. And Erik Ten Hag has come to the conclusion, I'm not going to be able to change her, and I don't think anyone else. Borussia Dortmund have got him, and they can't change him because they have a babysitter with him, don't they? Making sure he gets up. That came out. So at the end of the day, there is no change in the stance with Erik Ten Hag and Manchester United welcoming back Jadon Sancho on what's going on with Dortmund. None whatsoever. They, I think, believe, get the fee. We want a fee at the end of the season.
If you're talking about babysitter, I think it's the current manager of Borussia Dortmund now. When he was the assistant manager, when he was there before he come to Manchester United, I've seen reports from The Athletic, from Laurie Whitwell, stating that he used to check up on him in the mornings before team meetings to make sure he was up, etc. But I don't know how that's actually gone on over there this moment, whether he's changed or not. But I can't see Erik Ten Hag having his future plans with Jadon Sancho in it currently anyway. But talking about Casemiro earlier on, he did mention Cas, and he said this season he has struggled with a bad injury that he's never had in his career, but he always wins in his career. Everywhere he's been, he has been a success. I trust he will give success, and we will need it in the games. And I am very confident about him, and he is a fighter.
Yeah, well, he did compliment him about last season, saying he played really well throughout the season, and that's what he expects from Casemiro. And that, unfortunately, this season he's been suffering from bad injuries. But at the end of the day, right, loads of players have been suffering from injuries. He looks dead on his feet at times, Casemiro, but he says it's the injuries. Hopefully, he will get better as time goes on, and it looks like to me as though he's looking next year for Casemiro to still be here. So fair enough.
Do you think it is down to injuries, though, or do you think it's down to Erik Ten Hag's tactics?
I think
I've seen some poor performances.
I think when you're a player like Casemiro and you've played at the top, you put everything into every game what you've played to win things and all that. When you start getting these little niggles, it does affect you, especially with age. And he is getting on in age now. So at the end of the day, he's slowing down. I expect him to slow down next year, but there will be a role for him if he's here because he's still got it. It's just that at the moment he doesn't seem to have it right. Slow. Not passing right. He has struggled with tackles. We know that. He has been slow, but the injuries do catch up. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he might not be here next year. Maybe they might decide once these injuries come in for a player like Casemiro, you're never going to be at your best again.
Yeah, he also talked about the levels that he's seen with Manchester United this season. And he said, when we play to our levels, we can achieve really high levels. Last season was last season. We want to achieve every single season. We want to win trophies. We have a big opportunity this Sunday. We're in a semi-final, but it's a huge challenge.
Of course, it's a huge challenge with this squad, with this team, with these efforts. I mean, what he's trying to say, well, I don't know what he's trying to say there, to be honest with you. But what I'll say is what you want from players and what we've not seen is to give everything on the pitch. Hands on the knees at the end of the game. I've put everything into it. Big challenge. We want to win things and all that. Well, you're not going to win it with this squad. Certainly not, because they don't put everything into it. Yes, they've got to put everything into it Sunday, but if you see players on Sunday, right, at the end of the game, not with their hands on the knees, right, and not put everything into it, blood, sweat and tears, as they call it, right, then you just know that them players, by rights, won't be here. We already seen players not giving the maximum effort all season. But at the end of the day, this is a big test. He expects players to perform, but he's been expecting that all season, and they've let him down badly.
Do you expect the front three not to change? Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho?
To be honest with you, I look at Garnacho, and he's took a lot of stick recently, and I think it's been unfair. I think when he's played on the left, he got introduced at the start of the season, got took out, come back, and he did well, and he was performing, and he seemed to me as though his levels were going up game by game. And then what's happened, right? For some unknown reason, Marcus Rashford is on the left, not putting it in, and forced Garnacho on the right. And Garnacho is getting stick now. And remember, Garnacho is a left winger. That's where he's been improving. That's where we've seen the light, as if to say, this kid's going to be a star as we go forward. He ain't going to be a star playing on the right because he's not putting it in. He doesn't want to be there. He can't do the same job as he can on the left. And all he's doing is playing on the right to supplement putting Marcus Rashford in there, who is not performing. So I feel the criticism, what's going on about Garnacho, people haven't took in, hey, he's playing on the right. He's a left winger. That's where he's going to produce. That's where he's going to improve. But at the end of the day, I feel a little bit sorry for Garnacho that he's had to move to supplement Marcus Rashford being on the pitch, who does not deserve to be on that pitch because he does not put everything into it. I think you see a different Garnacho if he starts on the left.
But to be fair to Garnacho, you have seen a lot of contributions from him recent weeks or at the turn of the calendar year from that right-hand side, though, as well, with goals, assists.
No, I'm not criticising him.
No, I know you're not criticising. I'm just saying, to be fair to Garnacho as well, he's been moved out of his favourite position.
Yeah.
He's knuckled down, and he's stuck to his task. And I think he must have started at least 30 games on the bounce this season for Erik ten Hag.
The games he started on the right, he hasn't produced like he does on the left. That's what I'm trying to point out. And I think it's been unfair on Garnacho, the criticism what's come to him. He's better on the left, and that's where I want to see him. And to be honest with you, when I look at it and I think to myself, you've been pushed out of your position for someone who doesn't run, doesn't put the effort in, and is clearly not doing the job on the pitch. Any criticism, I think, is harsh.
So you expect it to stay the same, front three?
I expect it to stay the same. I don't see why Erik ten Hag would change it. He's not changed it for a long time. And to be honest with you, I look at Rashford there. I look at Højlund up front, and I look there. There's just not enough balls coming in. They're not connecting, and quite rightly, they're not connecting. Garnacho's on the right. He's not connecting with Højlund. If I look at it, I thought Højlund's scoring was improving, and I thought Garnacho was sort of learning to really release the ball a little bit earlier. Not all the time. I'm critical of him but playing on the right doesn't fit the way it's going for Højlund. That's my problem. They've got to sort it out.
Yeah, a lot of noise as well around Bruno Fernandes and his performances, not just this season, but in recent weeks as well. Do you think that's unfair criticism? I've seen a lot of people say on social media and across YouTube that they think it'd be best for Bruno Fernandes to leave Manchester United this summer. Me personally, I just don't know what people are seeing there, to be fair.
I don't know. There is criticism. There's criticism of every player.
Yeah, of course.
All right, okay. Right, it's just a matter of how much you really go in on them. Are they not trying, or is there no effort? And you can't criticise Bruno Fernandes for trying, for effort, for putting it all in. He does that. But let's get something straight here. Anybody playing in that system, doesn't matter who they are, in that midfield will not succeed. Simple as. And Bruno Fernandes has suffered, like all the rest of them midfield players. They're too wide apart. It doesn't work. Are the players good enough? I think Bruno's good enough to play in midfield in a lot of teams. No two ways about that, okay? But that system does not suit any of them. And Bruno Fernandes, if you look at it, right, has been moved about on the right wing and all that outside, and that certainly doesn't do him. He plays better when he's close to people, and that midfield is too wide open. So looking forward to next year, we either improve that midfield, that system, by bringing in players, okay, or Erik ten Hag has to change how that works and how he sets up.
Yeah, I think I'd like to think it's just a case of bringing in better players. You know, you look at the defence this season, the amount of injuries we've had. You know, Martinez, Luke Shaw, I think huge losses to the defence, and the way Erik Ten Hag wants to build up from the back as well. And especially when they're stepping into midfield, you know, you lose a lot of quality when you're bringing in the likes of Maguire, who has been steady for Manchester United. And we've needed him this season, of course, but you know, I think there's a big drop off there for me, and I do think, you know, in the summertime we do need like a proper solid midfielder in there, you know, like a Roy Keane or even like a Patrick Vieira, you know, one of them in the midfield, so you can then let Kobbie Mainoo go and play and link up in the attacks.
I think definitely,
you know, someone who can just cover that ground.
I think what it is, it's not the system. I think it's the player. The players have to be brought in. Yeah. Will they bring in a midfield player? I've already said it, centre half, centre forward for me. But if they manage to bring in a centre midfield player, or someone who's of the stature, big, strong lad, that's what you want in there. It's too weak, too wide open. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what the solution is under Erik Ten Hag.
You've also got to look at the front four as well, and I include Bruno on that. You know, your defence starts from the front, in closing down, etc. And sometimes when you're seeing, you know, one or two of them pressing, then you see one or two not really putting it in. And it's like, when you're pressing, it's not just about running about, it's about timing as well, and knowing when to do it and when not to do it as a unit.
I'm looking forward to
this.
And
that would help out the midfield.
I'm looking forward to this semi-final, right, against Coventry.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling here to hold myself in and not to rant, right? A rant about people not putting it in, not working together and all that. And I don't really want to go down that line, right? I want to save it, right?
Oh, no, of course. When you look at the starting 11, what we've been relying on this season,
yeah,
we've got three young kids in there who are just learning the trade. You know, you've got Kobbie Mainoo, Garnacho, Højlund as well. I think three young players who we've actually relied on massively this season, and they're just like learning the game.
They've been pushed in.
Yeah.
They've been pushed in early because of all the injuries and everything, the way it's gone. It's been a crazy season. But what it is, you've got to save that season on Sunday, and they've all got to perform. And to be honest with you, if the unthinkable happens, then everybody should have not just a moan, they should have a rant and a scream and everything on the people what don't put that effort in. That's all I'm asking for. I want to be entertained on Sunday. I expect us to go forward against Coventry. I expect us to really just outplay them, be stronger, outlast them, the fitness and everything. And I expect a really high scoring win by Manchester United. And I'd be very, very shocked if that didn't happen. This is a chance to save our season, right? And I think that really every player should be up for it and go out there and play with the freedom. But there is a doubt there, and everyone out there will say exactly the same. There is a doubt whether some of these players can actually be bothered, and they've got the minds elsewhere on moving, or they're getting moved on, or they go to the Euros, they don't want to commit and all that, and the attitude, and inside that club, that virus is there. I spoke about it loads of times. I just hope all that is just blown away and everyone just goes out there and entertains and just plays with the freedom like they should do, and just go and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I totally agree about, you know, enjoying themselves, expressing themselves, but we've got to look at, you know, there's a difference between expectation and reality. And the reality is, this season, it's been totally Jekyll and Hyde, up and down performances. Yeah. You don't know what team's going to turn up. Individually, making a lot of mistakes as well, which have led to goals. And yeah, you just hope that, you know, there's a calmness in the squad going into this one, and they can actually go there and enjoy the day, enjoy, you know, semi-final at Wembley and entertain us.
Well, the thing is, you just don't know what you're going to get from game to game.
Yeah.
And that's why, to be honest, I'm upbeat about this. I am upbeat about it, because I think this FA Cup game against Coventry will sort of like get rid of all the negativity surrounding the club, surrounding the players. That's what I want, regardless of players. I'm sort of like, I don't like him or I don't like him. I want these players to go out there, play with the freedom, give the fans what are travelling down there, and they'll be there in the masses like they always are. Something to cheer, something to enjoy. It's been a depressing season, only cheered up in the last week with the failure of everybody else. You know, and that's not what you should be looking for. This is the FA Cup. Let's have it. Let's get to that final, and whether it's City or Chelsea, let's put the effort in and just take it to them and beat them. That's what I want to see. And I'm sure everyone down there will get behind the team.
Yeah, always do. Let's have your score prediction, then.
The score prediction, right, is 4-0. I am going for a high-scoring win, 4-0. I actually believe that Manchester United will just steamroll them. Yes, Coventry will have little bits in the game, but I think the United will just be too strong. They'll be too quick for him, and they'll go for it. That's what I believe. I think everyone's attacking Man United. The press, the media, you name it, the lot. The press were looking today for blood, but I just think them players will do it on Sunday, regardless of anybody out there who you dislike.
Yeah, this is only going to be the highlight of our season if we can get to the final and actually win the FA Cup. So you surely got to expect the players to raise the game. But at the end of the day, you should be expecting Manchester United to actually control large parts of this game. But I'm not confident about that. I've just got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously going to go for a Manchester United win, but I'm just going to go with a 1-0 win.
1-0?
1-0.
No way will it be 1-0.
Well,
but hey,
listen, get the job done. That's all I'm bothered about, and get to the final. Potential banana skin. Get in there, 1-0.
It's a potential banana skin if they don't start correctly. If United start in the right way, going forward, press them press their goalie, press their back four. That's the way to start. And to be honest with you, if you don't see that, then I can change my mind 15 minutes into the game.
4-0.
No, I can change my mind 10 minutes, 15. Because if you don't see that quick start by pressing.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've seen that in games a lot this season where they have this quick start for 10, 15 minutes, and all of a sudden they revert back to shape and performances that we've seen before that. And that's just slow, casual football, struggling to get in and around the pitch, getting in and around tackles, pressing from the front.
I refuse to get depressed or worry about this game because it's FA Cup, semi-final, it's at Wembley. The opposition is there to be had. And I think Manchester United, with the history of the FA Cup, should go straight at him and take it to him and just overpower him.
Yeah.
I am optimistic. I've had a fantastic week. I've watched football all week. It's been an absolute delight watching everyone get beat, knocked out and everything. And I don't want to end the week where Man United suffer. I think we've suffered enough, and this should really put us in good stead going forward.
Expectation 4-0, reality 1-0. Let us know what your thoughts and opinions are going into the game. Also your score predictions as well. Just like to thank everyone for joining us for today's video, getting involved in the chat as well, been popping off as usual, some great opinions in there. If you've enjoyed it, you want to support us, leave a like on the video, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video. So hopefully you can join us Saturday morning, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.